Welcome to this evening's meeting of the Novato Unified Board of Trustees. We'd like to let you know that at the direction of the board, the meeting is recorded and played on our YouTube channel. Sometimes sounds and images from the room are captured there. If you'd like to make public comment on any item on agenda or not on agenda, please see staff at the side table. And we'd like to have our students lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance if they'd like to. Would you like to come up, you guys? Oh, we have other students. Hi. Okay. Please, everyone stand. Thank you so much. The board met in closed session. Trustee Magali will report out.
Good evening. The board met in closed session on the following items. On Tuesday, matters related to students. On Tuesday, February 11, 2025, the Novato Unified School District Board of Trustees met in closed session to review staff's recommendation on a stipulated expulsion of student number 2024-25-1002. Based on staff's recommendation, Trustee Mack made the motion to expel the student will be expelled to Marin County Office of Education's Marin Community School for the remainder of the semester plus one full semester. Trustee Butler seconded the motion. For the violations at code 48900A1, 48900A2, 48900C, 48900E, 48900H, 48900.4. Trustee Butler seconded the motion.
We will take a roll call vote. Trustee Alexander?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Gasson?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta?
Aye.
Trustee Mack?
Aye.
Trustee Pickus?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, personal matters, public employee discipline dismissal release, information only. Negotiations, collective bargaining. Conference with labor, Joshua Braff, Chief Financial Officer, and Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director, Human Resources. An employee organization, Novato Federation of Teachers, NFT, information only. Conference with labor negotiators, Joshua Braff, Chief Financial Officer, and Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director, Human Resources. An employees organization, California School Employee Association, CSEA, information only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda, please? Trustee Alexander, thank you. And a second by Trustee Pickus, thank you. All in favor? We have 7 trustees and our 2 student trustees, thank you. And we have, next item is approval of tonight's consent agenda. If anyone would like any items pulled, now would be the time to discuss that. Seeing none, might I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Trustee Pickus, thank you. And I saw a second from Trustee Lametta. All in favor? 7 plus student trustees, thank you. We have announcements today from the board. We'll start with Maddie Walker. She's our San Marin representative this evening.
Hi. Hi. So San Marin this week, Wellness Hub is hosting a 5-day activity, including making and learning about reproductive resources and healthy relationships with and art projects. Rock Band is playing at Hot Monk tonight with a Dine and Donate for their music program. The blood drive will be hosted by CSF Club on Tuesday, February 27th for students and parents 16 and up. ASB is raising money for the class of 2027 by selling Valentine's Day cards with candy. The choir students will be raising money with singing grams on Friday. Girls varsity basketball in MCAL semifinals tomorrow night, Wednesday, at Marin Catholic. The boys varsity wrestling came in second in league as a team and will compete in MCAL individuals on Saturday. Boys varsity basketball and boys varsity soccer awaiting fate at NCS playoffs, which start next week. And the spring sports are underway from yesterday. This was also the first day of spring, so happy spring, guys. And we are all planning on enjoying winter break.
So students in the Bridges program have started their College of Marine Counseling 133 class. College of Marine instructors come to the Hill campus every Monday to teach it. The class is all about how to succeed in college. Leadership has been organizing school-wide activities for Black History Month, including creating informative posters that are displayed around campus to celebrate important figures in our history. Also, with Valentine's Day coming up on Friday, leadership is planning some fun activities to spread joy and love around campus. Each student will receive a personalized trait. The Indigo assessment is a comprehensive science-based tool designed to help us gain deep self-awareness. It evaluates our personal behaviors, motivators, skills, and social emotional perceptions. At Marine Oaks, we use it to understand our strengths and areas for growth, support personal development, and identify potential career paths where we could excel. This week, Suen from the Indigo Company is on campus, meeting with the students in small groups to discuss our results. It's a lot of fun to learn about ourselves and spend individual time with Suen. In ethnic studies, students have been researching important Black historical figures. This week, they have started presenting or discussing their completed projects with class. They are also learning through a game by watching short clips titled Black History in 2 minutes or less. After watching the clips, they play an interactive game to test their knowledge. Learning in a game format makes it fun while we learn about historical figures and significant moments in our history. In U.S. history, students have been learning about the Civil Rights Movement and other important Black historical figures. In art class, we're learning about the Harlem Renaissance by exploring the history of the Great Migration and capturing the sounds of the era through our artwork. Thank you.
Thank you. I was really very excited to be able to participate in my very first Modeling the Way last Friday and really enjoyed seeing the district's values in action through incredible staff. So thank you.
Thank you for your reports. That was really exciting to hear about the things going on. It's been busy personally for me, but I had the chance to go to the final dual meet that happened last Wednesday between San Marin and Novato and TAM. So I was there as a TAM teacher, but also got to be present, and I rarely get to athletics, and so that was really exciting. And there was so many community members who came out. It was a great feeling there. So yeah, it was really fun.
I was able to attend the Local Control Accountability Plan Advisory Committee, which starts this time of year where we go back and review our current what's called the LCAP. Last year we approved a 3-year LCAP, and so now this year we're just going back and looking at it currently and making sure what we have in place is working, and if we have any changes to make or address anything, we will do that in this group. I also was able to do a couple site visits at Hill Education Center, focused on Marina Oaks, and Hamilton. I did a site visit, so that was really nice. And I said this at Northburn Council, but I'll say it again here. when you do the site visits at the beginning of the year, you go into classrooms and you see things a little bit differently. And when you do them after winter break, it's a whole different swing of things. You see teaching and learning is at a different level, heightened. You see classroom engagement, and you see classroom management by the teacher doing a really good job. So I'm really seeing some good teaching and learning in the classroom right now. So I really enjoy it. So thank you to all of our teachers for that. Capital Advisors budget presentation, just another way to listen to hear about the budget that is presented to us right now. That was at the Sonoma County Office of Education. And then Northburn Council PTA and Modeling the Way I was able to attend.
Well, everything was already spoken about. So I attended most of those things as well. It's just been a great couple of weeks. And so looking forward to the break, as I heard mentioned earlier. Hope everyone does as well.
Just one thing, I attended the surplus property committee meeting, whatever we call it. And one, it was fun seeing other people sitting at this table instead of us. But really good committee, great questions. We are well on our way to doing the right thing here, and really appreciate staff's organization and really helping folks answer the questions they have about the surplus properties and the implications of perhaps doing something with them.
No report.
I got to go to Modeling the Way. It's always a fun time to honor our staff. I did a site visit at San Marin, which was wonderful. And today I got to sit in on a call about PBE with some teachers and administrators and just hear how they were talking about it. It was really nice.
All right. Welcome, Maddie, newest board member. Thanks for being here. You're doing great. And a big shout out to the San Marin girls basketball. I think you might have said that. I won last night, and they play Marin Catholic on Wednesday. These are in the playoffs now. And yes, spring sports have begun. So a big shout out to all of our athletic directors, our athletic trainers, our coaches, and our players. Exciting to start the next season. And just a reminder, annual surveys for students, staff, and parents and community members are they're due by Friday. We really use that data, so we appreciate any feedback. Our student advisory, superintendent student advisory meets tomorrow. We're going to be discussing vaping and concerns that we have around that. And then the last thing I just want to say that in response to the public comment at last month's board meeting, it was in regards to the theater program at Novato High School. I would like to reiterate that our students' theater continued quality experience has been our focus since December. I wanted to commend the parents, the kids, students, Ms. Cortez, Ms. Miller, and the MSA Foundation for their tireless efforts in working together to get to this goal of continuing a quality experience for our students.
Thank you. Okay, our presentation this evening is from Hamilton TK8 School. If you are with them, please come up.
Oh, look at that. Hi, Ms. McMorrow. Okay. Brian could not attend. We have a middle school tour that night that was already planned in conjunction with this. So, you get me. How do I make it big? Thanks, Julie. I practiced only opening, not showing. Let's see, are we good? There you go. Thank you. Oh, I didn't know my notes would be right there too. Okay, this is cool. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us tonight. My name is Allie McMorrow, and I have the privilege of serving as the assistant principal at Hamilton TK8. Hamilton is a one-of-a-kind school within our school district, as we are the only TK8 school. This year has been especially unique for us, as we have a whole new administrative team with a shared vision of building a strong, inclusive community that embraces all students, families, and community partners. Okay. Everything we do is grounded in collective listening and collaborative decision making. We are a community that actively encourages family engagement and community support with the shared goal of enhancing student learning. Nope. Wrong button. I got it, Julie. I got it. Okay. This year, we have focused really hard on how to make Hamilton a TK-8 school and not an elementary school and a middle school. This helps to build a community and have all students feel welcome, and that relates strongly to their academic success. Looking at our data was difficult this year, as looking at data often is, where we aren't where we hoped we would be. So we brought this challenge to our instructional leadership team and to our community partners. We wanted to find a way to engage the whole school in a common intervention. And we focused on finding a data strand that aligned across all grade levels. After discussing our findings, we all agreed that math required a stronger intervention, which became the focal point of this school year. A deeper look into our math CASP scores revealed a significant need for students to strengthen their understanding of basic math facts. Everything in math depends on a solid grasp of these foundational skills and concepts across all operations. The problem we identified is that students who lack mastery in basic math facts struggle to access grade level content. 100% of our school community had the opportunity to practice their math facts using a variety of computer programs and games. For the month of December, we launched a fun challenge to encourage engagement. The elementary challenge was 100 minutes of math fact fluency, and the middle school challenge was 150 minutes. This initiative created a real buzz across the campus, and students talking about it, and teachers dedicating class time to help students reach goals. One of our community partners, Rise Scholars, supported the challenge by meeting with our team weekly and funding school-wide incentives, including dice for every student to take home for the winter break. We also provided games that could be played with these dice for every operation, encouraging families to join in the fun and play together during the break. Teachers also found creative ways to celebrate student progress. You can see our first grade team found and created 5 boards, the subtraction boards, addition boards, and then each kid, when they passed both, got this red floofy, or the silver floofy balloon and their picture taken on the wall. We have some kids here who have words to share. Miss Davis, will you come on up? Students range from 3rd grade to middle school.
Be the one to pass it. Here, perfect. Good.
Start with your name, Jack.
The Math Act Challenge was fun to do with Imagine Math Facts because it was timed. I like to call it the Green Gecko game. When leadership kids came to my class, we played a game called Quiet Tiles.
Learning Imagine Math Facts helps your brain grow. Period. It's fun. It was fun when the middle schoolers played math games with the middle schoolers. I am excited to learn more things. Using Imagine Math Facts has helped me learn multiplication and get a little bit smarter.
Hi, my name is Rakev, and having a whole school math challenge was great because it made me want to participate. The prizes made me want to practice a lot so I wouldn't be the one left out. Leadership connections have allowed us to play with the little kids. The best math game we played was a dice game where we had to add up the pimps on the dice. It was simple and easy, and we all had fun.
Hi, my name is Ben, and Imagine Math Facts can help people improve their math brain. Leadership Connections is a time where we go and play with the little kids. Sometimes we get to help with their math facts. One game uses cards, and we get to yell at math facts as fast as possible. We had so much fun.
Hi, my name is Giselle, and memorizing math facts is important because it takes some of the struggle away, and we can reflect it on the future. I think it is good to hang out with the littles because we can be a good example for them, and we think it is fun, and I hope they do so as well.
Hi, my name is Angie, and I think using Imagine Math Facts is important because a good way to learn multiplication, division. I think that's good to work hard, and if we know how to work hard now, it will make easier to work harder later.
Thanks, you guys. These are our leadership students and then some third graders. Leadership Connections is something new this year where our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade leadership students decided they wanted to spend more time with the elementary kids, and so they have found times overlapping. They started out the year just playing games, and then they're swapping ELA support and math support in every other time that they go and visit. Our challenge began in December. 100% of our students were given the opportunity to practice the math facts using Imagine Math Facts. First graders found that not to be so fun, and so they used an everyday math that was a little too stressful for the littles. But what we have seen for Imagine Math Facts is 45% of 1st through 8th grades have passed addition, 19% of 1st through 8th grade subtraction, 38% 3rd through 8th grade have passed multiplication, and 19% 4th through 8th grade have passed division. And this is 1 month. 1 month's data. As you can see here, this is what's reflected. Because the initiative took and the challenge took a very short amount of time, we looked at data actually from last year. Were we even utilizing it? Because we are seeing this need in our community. And so you can see the number of active students has gone up. The number of facts passed has gone up. It looks like it hasn't, but the column, the 23-24, is the whole entire school year. The 24-25 is just the month of January. The average number of facts passed is in a month, it's half. So what I did is, in true form, we didn't get data until 3:30 today after the presentation was due. So I have real new data from them. So let me just share this with you. As of now, for the 24-25 school year, 934,000 math facts have been passed. 1,864 is the average number of math facts passed. 4,046 is the total usage hours for our whole school. And just to give you between Hamilton and USD, NUSD's average facts passed is 1,864, and just in our 6th grade, we have 2,221 math facts passed. As we sit and reflect about what we can do in just a month of really targeted intervention and excitement coming from teachers and community partners and spreading it through our family, it's been a really exciting thing, and it just excites us to go even more forward. Like, what can we do if this was our focus? Or what can we do when we actually put our whole focus, TK8, school, community members, community partners, parents, staff, students, when we all get involved. Thank you very much. Boys and girls, all the students from Hamilton, and thank you, Brian. I'm glad you're here. Oh, you're going to say something.
No, I just want to say one thing is I so appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this school, and I think even tonight is a wonderful representation of how someone like Ms. McMorrow and our students and our families come together for a collective action and the impact it can have. I had the privilege of getting to tell middle school parents about that, as well as supporting English language learners on our campus for the first time. So we have a real comprehensive vision, and I'm just so proud of the team and the students and everything that's happening. And we just couldn't be more grateful for this opportunity to share. Sorry I couldn't be here earlier.
Okay. If you are a Hamilton student or staff member, will you come up and come take a picture? Please.
like your pink leggings.
I know there's. Any questions or comments? Yes, Trustee Pickus? Ms. McMorrow
Yes.
and Mr. Clement, if you'd wait just a second.
Yes,
We have
absolutely.
Comments.
Just a quick comment. That's really impressive data, and that's just really exciting to see. And what I think Hamilton offers that is so unique is that really that K through 8 experience, and there's so many valuable things that can happen in a community like that. So I love the partnering of the older kids with the younger kids. What is it? Leadership Connections? Is that what that time is
Leadership
called?
Connections. Mhm.
I just think that's such a beautiful idea, and I also love that you came at an academic problem with play and celebration, and we know that kids need more play and they need more celebration, and you were able to harness that in a positive way that not only probably made our kids feel really good, and they all collectively had an experience together, and there's so much power in that at a school, but also that it had the academic impact. And so I just really want to acknowledge that. And Brian, was it, I don't want to misspeak, were you the one who was talking about the day of play?
Yeah, in my newsletter.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to talk about that, but there is an International Day of Play, and so when you were talking about how you brought play into this, I just recalled your family memo, or if you want to just maybe mention that, it's really cool.
It's from my Sunday night. No, and I think one of the things that we're really active on, this is the invitation to all of us to really consider, right, is how do we engage and encode academics? We have to feel safe. We have to feel a sense of belonging for us to even be learning ready. And that's why I quote people in the newsletters. But it is not lost on us that you encode things better. You learn more through play. The number of exposures to that fact or factoid or how you learn something is encoded faster and easier through play, right? So that's what we want to do, and we've talked about this theme through our work with CEL, the Center for Educational Leadership. We really talked about having happy and proud students, and for us that was the extension in happy and proud staff and the happy and proud group of families and students who show up every day. And so that's fun. It's fun. Plus, we want to have fun where we show up.
The day of play is the best day.
Yeah. It's just part of it, but that's a philosophy and important value that we have as an educational community. When I used to be a 6th grade teacher, my students used to go, "Are we going to learn today?" But we learned every day, and it's through those things that don't sort of come at you through that front door of, you're at school, you must do. But those are just parts of what we're trying to do together, and we're doing so. Just thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit. And we'll come back anytime you want.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you. It is not always pleasant to bring not positive data to us, and I really appreciate that you brought it, you called it out, you really looked at what needed to change, then you found something, implemented it, and as it was happening, edited your process for what was most effective, and you can clearly see the results, and that is the type of work that is so amazing and commendable, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks so
for
much.
coming. Thank you, guys. Okay, we now have come to non-agenda public comment. We have 20 minutes worth of time. We will take these first come, first serve. Each speaker has 3 minutes. We are not at liberty to respond to any non-agendized items, and we will let you know that all cards received and speakers will be reached out to by staff within 2 business days. Our first speaker is Ben Braley. And our next speaker, also I would like to remind you, please do not clap during this. We want to hear as many people as possible. Our next speaker, if they'd like to be ready, is Shannon Stallone, possibly.
Trustees, Dr. Smith, I appreciate all of you providing us this opportunity again. We know there's an investigation ongoing about Rodney Franz. I wanted to identify first the individuals in this room who came here, just raise your hand, to support Rodney Franz and his continued employment with this school. My name is Ben Brawley. I am an attorney. I am here in my personal capacity as a parent of 2 children of the MSA Theater program. My daughter could not be here because she's also a member of another MSA program that is having a separate issue this evening. 2 years ago, we uprooted my entire family from Texas, where we're from, to come here, to come to this school, And in large part, that was because of Rodney Franz and what he provides. This theater program last weekend went to the Linnea Theater Festival in Folsom, California. They competed against 70 other schools. Over 40 of them did one-act performances. Out of those 40-plus performances, they were one of 4 schools that won gold. When they were celebrating that win, a large number of the students who performed were chanting his name, Rodney Franz. Rodney Franz. Because they know they're there because of him. They know that they know what they know because of his ability. Above you, you have words. I don't even know if people pay attention to these things when they walk in. It says engage, inspire, empower. And I imagine that they're there as some part of some kind of mission statement or some kind of ideology that you as trustees are looking for in people who lead you. And Rodney does those things. He is that. He is one of the most valuable assets that this community has. I was talking to a lawyer friend of mine today. She had been a product of the MSA Theater Department. She had heard about what was happening with Rodney. And she said, I wouldn't be an attorney if it weren't for Rodney, if it weren't for what he provided for me, the engagement, the inspiration, and the empowerment. It is no secret that you've retained a law firm in San Francisco, California to conduct this investigation, and they are doing so. And they will provide you with recommendations at some point in the future. I'm urging you to listen to us. Use your observations as members of this community. Think about what you told the voters who voted for you when you told them that you were doing this for the people involved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Shannon is next, and after her will be Kevin C.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Stallone, and my son Vinny has been in Rodney's theater program for the last three and a half years now. In that time, I've had the pleasure of getting to know Rodney through many different perspectives. As a parent of a shy teen, I watched Rodney mentor and challenge my child to show up to his full abilities and talents. During his freshman year, Vinny was too shy to be on stage, and so he operated the spotlight, making sure that the performers were highlighted on stage. Due to Rodney's dedication and care for Vinny, he's now on stage, enjoying the spotlight. This was not an exclusive experience of my son, but an example of Rodney's dedication to his students. In addition to being a parent, I've also had the pleasure of getting to know Rodney through my role as the core lead booster this year. In this position, I've had the opportunity to see Rodney handle challenges with grace and care for these students. Through his regular community guidelines meetings with the students and devotion to ensuring all who want to perform get the opportunity, Rodney works tirelessly to make the theater program live up to its outstanding reputation. No matter the skill level or talent, Rodney will find a spot for any student who wants to be in the performance. Please don't allow the disgruntled complaints of a few families whose children did not get in the spotlight to be twisted into something that tarnishes the reputation of an extraordinary teacher. He loves these students. He is dedicated to their growth as artists. You owe it to these students to complete a timely investigation. It's been 64 days. 64 days of rumors, 64 days of uncertainty, 64 days of worry, 64 days. I'm asking you to do better for these kids. Thank you.
We have Kevin and then Nolan B.
So thank you for the opportunity to speak. I must say that those before me certainly captured a lot of what I was going to say. I'm here not only as a parent whose kids' lives have been touched by the MSA Theater program, but really to speak on behalf of the community and on behalf of Rodney Franz. This investigation, we understand the need to look into events, but as those have said already, you know, it's been 8 weeks, and frankly, with all due respect, since mid-December, the program has not been the same. Ms. Cortez and Ms. Miller have done the best they can, but without question, the quality has suffered. As evidenced by, again, the display in Linnea this week, which we applaud the students for standing up for their beloved teacher. In front of 70 other California schools, our students have to raise their voice in support of someone they care so much about. And frankly, it's becoming a bit of a disgrace and embarrassment to our school that this has drug on for so long. So on behalf of the community, we ask that there be closure, that Rodney be given the opportunity for redemption if that's what's needed. You know, perhaps perhaps mistakes were made, but Rodney has tirelessly spent the last 17 years, nights, weekends, countless hours empowering our children. The community is here today. We were here last month. We'll be here next month again to support him and ensure that he's given a fair chance, that he's given the consideration on behalf of the community. So thank you.
Nolan and then Brooke Evans.
Hello. I thank you all for allowing me to be here today. My name is Nolan Brawley, and I come to you all about the absence, about 10-week absence now, of Mr. Franz from the MSA Theater program. Now, I came to California from Texas a little over a year ago, before the start of my freshman year, with next to zero experience in the arts, and Mr. Franz not only gave me a place to gain skills and knowledge of the arts through his programs and his classes, but he gave me a place to belong, in a place where I would have known nobody at school if he didn't accept me into his program with open arms. Now, he gave me something that I can never repay. He gave me a community and he gave me a family here. And I can say that if you are truly looking for someone who can engage, inspire, and empower here, then you need Rodney Franz back in the Marin School of the Arts Theater program. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. After Brooke will be Larissa.
Hi, I'm Brooke Evans. I'm a freshman at Novato High, and I'm also here to talk about Rodney Franz. I would just like to say my story. So ever since 6th grade, I wanted to go to STEM, and that was my thing. I loved engineering, and that's where I wanted to go. But I auditioned for MSA just for kicks, and because I love theater. And Mr. Franz convinced me that joining his program would be an amazing time, and I ended up going there, and he promised me that I would have the best time, and as he promised, I did. And I would not be here if it wasn't for him. He's affected me so positively. And even though I've only been here for one semester, he's inspired me so much. And this year I wasn't going to stay in theater for the next 4 years, but now because of him, I'm actually going to. I know a ton of the students feel the same way, and many of us has great experiences with him and can vouch for his character. And because Mr. Franz isn't here, the theater program will suffer, and we have. A lot of us choose MSA because of him, and losing him would be a really big blow. And we appreciate your efforts to continuing the theater program, but it's not enough. It's not the education that I signed up for when I came to MSA. Personally, I don't think anyone can replace him. He is really one of a kind. Thank you.
Larissa, and then Sarah.
Hi, my name's Larissa. My daughter's a sophomore at Novato High in the theater department. I'm also pretty involved with the PTSA there. Hi, Diane. I wanted to come speak on behalf of Mr. Franz. I work with him very closely on finances and budget, and I can tell you, reiterate what Brooke just said, the MSA theater department is not the same without him. It will not be the same without him. I don't know how much clearer we can all be. You guys cannot replace Franz. You guys can try. It will not be the same. If you look at his history, he's been there for what, since the beginning, 20 plus years or something like that, or how, does anybody know? 17 years. It will not be the same. You will see a drop in attendance, I can guarantee it, because a lot of these kids are only here because of this theater department and that teacher. So I would really hope y'all, also the lack of communication on what's going on. Like, none of us know anything. We're all, like somebody else said, all the rumors and everything else for over 2 months. Wrap it up, guys. Like, wrap it up. Get him back to the school. I don't know if this is being dragged out for the school year because there might still be kids that are here that this is all revolving around, but he needs to get back in the classroom, if he will even come back to the classroom after having to go through all this. We really hope he does, but it needs to be wrapped up, and he needs to be back with the kids where he belongs and where they all want him.
Thank you. Sarah, and then Bree.
Hi, good evening, members of the board, Dr. Smith. My name is Sarah Hubbard Lake, and I am a parent of a senior in the theater program. And Z would be here tonight, but they are sick, unfortunately. I have to say that I am definitely coming from a place of frustration. I heard some of the people speak before me, and they're talking about how inspiring Mr. Franz is, and he definitely is. My kid has grown so much in this program, but what I wrote isn't really talking about that because I am frustrated and even bordering on angry. It's really hard to formulate an opinion, though, without any information. I mean, I just heard two things tonight that I hadn't heard before. There's so much speculation and rumor going around, and the thing is, I can think of so few scenarios where you would have to rip a teacher so unexpectedly and abruptly from a group of kids without any warning or any information. And I don't think any of those scenarios that I can think of is that's what's happening right now. But again, we're kind of all in the dark here. And if any of the things that I've heard are true, then I think there's no reason that this shouldn't have been resolved a long ago. And I mean, I understand that unexpected things happen, and I heard somebody say, well, they just, this is a chance for the kids to learn how to adapt and roll with change. But you know what, we've all been through so much, in addition to COVID. So many of our kids are going through this stressful, college application process. We had to evacuate from our home in 2017 because of the Sonoma fires. And I'm sure tons of these other kids have suffered loss or gone through unexpected hardship within the last few years on top of everything else. And then you throw this onto it. And it's just really, it's too much. And I just think it's unnecessary stress for these kids. I mean, it is true. This program is full of so many talented kids, and they are going to produce great work regardless of who is at the helm. But the overwhelming consensus from the students in this program is that they want Mr. Franz back. You heard someone talking about how they were chanting his name at Linnea. They've also built a shrine for him in the PAC. I don't know if you're aware of that, with photos and trinkets. And then we also have a student who made a shirt with images of Rodney Franz, and now you have over 40 parents and students requesting that he make shirts for them. People want him back in the classroom. I just ask that you please resolve this and get him back to those kids. Thank you.
Bree and then Susan.
Hello, my name is Bree Wadford. I'm a sophomore in the MSA Theater program, and I'd just like to share some experiences that I've had with him and why I think that he's such a worthwhile person to truly have in our community and support the children that are growing alongside me. I transferred to this district actually from Vallecito, or from Miller Creek Middle, and I really wasn't sure about it. I was so sure that I was going to go to some private school or something where I could focus on academics. And I decided to apply to MSA because my brother was attending their band program. And I walked into that audition room and I sung my song and I did my monologue. And, you know, Rodney just stands up, hands back in the air. That was amazing. He's so supportive in that way. He inspired me to complete my transfer. And again, I'm a very self-conscious person. I had no self-confidence when I joined this program. I thought I was an awful singer, dancer, actor, everything. And then I get cast in the fall musical with a role, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. But I'm still to that place of, I don't think I deserve this. And opening night, I do my performance with my wonderful cast, and I get off that stage, and I go to the space behind, and I start crying. And I say to myself, that is the worst thing I've ever done, and that's so embarrassing. And I can't believe that I stood up there in front of all those people that paid money to come here, and I did the worst performance ever. I was there for a while, actually, maybe like 15 minutes. A lot of people are out in the audience, you know, thanking people, seeing their relatives, and someone opens the door on me, and it's Mr. Franz. And what he does is he sits right beside me, and he says, I don't want you to ever think that that was an awful performance. That is one of the best things that I have heard from this program. And you are too good of a person to ever be disappointed in yourself. He is the reason that I've grown so much as a performer that I was able to represent my school at Linnea this year. He truly is a driving force behind so many students in this program. And he is the reason that we are here, and I think without him, truly, I cannot continue in this program. He is a part of my life and such a key person to my development that if he's not here, I simply cannot continue in MSA Theater or MSA Vocal Choir. Thank you for your time.
Susan.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Dr. Smith. Much like Sarah, I would love to stand here and speak to Rodney's accolades. I don't think there's a single person in this room who doesn't know how fabulous he is, and that we are tremendously blessed and lucky to have a teacher like this at our school. I'm not even frustrated. I'm just downright angry. I'm angry that this has gone on for so long. I'm angry that there are no answers. I'm angry that our kids are coming home at the end of every day feeling emotionally rattled because they don't know what's going on. They don't know when France will be back. They don't know what the future looks like. Families need to make decisions. Like many others, we came out of district to attend this program so that our son could study with Rodney Franz. And as I say now, I get emotional when I get angry, so forgive me if I'm bursting into tears. But the fact of the matter is that we need to know what is going on. If he's not going to be returning to the school, shame on anybody who has played a part in that, because our community will only suffer from that. And if he is not coming back to school, then we as families need to know that now so that we can make decisions about what we want to do with our kids in the following year. We have opportunities to attend other schools, which we don't want to do. We want to stay at MSA. We want to stay with Rodney France and this program. But if he's not there, the picture looks very different. And you guys are now, whoever's responsible for this, you are denying people the opportunity, the timely opportunity to make applications at other schools while there is still an opportunity to make those applications. I also want to just read a little bit about an email that I wrote right at the start of this whole process, and I feel everything that I said there is still absolutely valid. Sahar arrived at MSA, that's our son, with 0 theater experience. He went to tour the school, he saw what the theater department was about, and he came home and he said, that's what I want to do. So he went into that program with 0 theater, dance, or voice experience. Mr. France's mentorship and the supportive environment he has created in this program has allowed Sahar to not only thrive, but to excel. He has established bonds and strong friendships with his peers and also with the parent community who work so willingly under the guidance of Mr. France to create this exceptional program. Mr. France's dedication to his students and his devotion to his craft is unquestionable, and we have the utmost respect for him in the life-changing work that he does with these kids. Sahar has been... Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is 12A, staff report. This is the 2024-2025 Local Control and Accountability Plan mid-year report, brought to us by Dr. Sinyard.
Yeah, no problem. Excuse me, your shoe. I know. I already thought. She was my girl. Free. Oh, she's good. I like her. All right. Thank you. Okay. Good evening, members of the Board of Trustees, student representatives, and Dr. Smith. Thank you for the opportunity to present our mid-year update on the Local Control and Accountability Plan. And tonight I'm going to provide a very brief overview of our progress towards our goals, kind of highlight a couple successes, and discuss areas where we continue to focus our efforts. Okay, the mid-year update, it must be presented to the local governing board prior to February 28th, but the board is not required to approve this document. All the data that we currently have has been uploaded in the update, and so have all our current expenditures through December 2024. Okay. The LCAP has 4 basic goals. We call these our buckets. The first one is improving our academic outcomes. Our second goal is providing robust student supports with a focus on inclusion. And the third goal is increasing engagement and belonging. There is also one goal, and this goal is unique to Marin Oaks as a result of the LCFF equity multiplier. And just to kind of give a little bit more information about that, the equity multiplier provides additional funding to local educational agencies for schools with prior year non-stability rates greater than 25% and prior year socioeconomically disadvantaged pupil rates greater than 70%. And so the focus of our goal 4 includes additional personnel to support academic and social emotional well-being for our Marin Oaks students. Okay, and throughout the document, you're going to see kind of different varying stages of reporting. And so some of our data is still unknown as we are going through the whole year, and we'll have those results for you in June, with the exception of our AP scores and kind of our 24-25 CAS scores. Those come later on. And then we have some of the outcomes that are in progress that'll kind of look at our Galileo scores, kind of what are our local measures. So those are in progress. And then some of the outcomes that we have that are known that were completion from the previous year. Let's see. And kind of our first goal, wanted to kind of talk a little bit about our first goal, is basically looking at our academic improvements and our areas to focus upon. We have our teachers on special assignments, and they are actively reviewing data with their respective staffs, facilitating critical conversations around data, and engaging in challenging conversations to drive instructional improvements. We kind of look at our AVID sections and supporting the implementation of evidence-based instructional strategies to help students be successful and maintain A through G status. We've expanded professional development opportunities for educators, focusing on data-driven instruction and differentiation. And Brian alluded to that when he was talking about our work with CEL. And he was talking about happy and proud students and how we are effectively supporting teachers with actionable feedback after our observations in the classroom. We also are working on strengthening our interventions for our students needing academic support through kind of instruction with small group instruction, more individualized attention to each kiddo. And our data still indicates to us that we are continuing to work and grow in this area. And you've heard, kind of as Hamilton just explained, area of math is a significant focus, kind of working through math task force meetings and all that wonderful stuff to better support our kiddos. In our second kind of goal, our goal of increasing supports for student well-being and belonging, we've had the expansion of our mental health resources, specifically to kind of calling out our secondary counselors and the additional support for our counselors at the middle school level. We've had kind of the implementation of social emotional learning, kind of our work with our PBIS, our positive behavior intervention supports and framework, and really helping students kind of build upon conflict mediation skills, coping skills, resiliency, increasing access to wellness spaces on campus, and again, on reducing stigma around mental health needs and supporting additional targeted supports for kiddos. We're also working on maintaining positive attendance. Last year, we've praised the work of our chronic absenteeism teams, really diving into our data, making sure our kiddos are coming to school. We made significant progress from 18% chronic absentee to 9.5% chronic absenteeism last year. I'm sorry, 9.1. And currently, as of today, we're at 9.5 chronic absenteeism rate. But again, maintaining in that area. Want to definitely, obviously, keep that decreasing. And in our third goal, we are kind of working on definitely family engagement, student engagement, and belonging. And again, kind of calling out the work of our community liaisons, strengthening our family and community partnerships, the parent engagement events, and truly seeing the support of our community. Enhancing student voice in decision-making through our leadership programs and advisory councils. Focusing on equity and inclusion initiatives to ensure all students feel valued and supported. And increasing our participation in extracurricular activities and student-led organizations, especially again at the middle school level with kind of the introduction of middle school sports, broadening that spectrum. And so all of that now, kind of looking at one more goal, we have our equity multiplier goal for Marin Oaks. And again, the services in meeting this goal are supports with our teacher on special assignment and a wellness hub navigator to, again, make sure our kiddos are staying on track for graduation. And kind of before I jump into our questions, kind of what's the whole, so what? What's the purpose of all of this? And one of the things, as we said, we're now in the LCAP process. And so as this is the first year of our 3-year LCAP, we kind of go through our new process. So we have our goals, and now we start doing all our continued data collection, meeting with our LCAP advisory committee, meeting with our district English language advisory committee, and creating another needs assessment. Again, looking at things, are we doing what's keeping kids on track? Are we off of our mark? And kind of making adjustments and enhancements as we go along. We are continuing to provide professional development learning opportunities for staff, and again, looking for more information, as Dr. Smith said, kind of encouraging families to complete our surveys, very important. We go through all of that data, analyze all our data as well, and we bring that forth finally back to you in June when we present the official LCAP again. And so that's kind of, again, in front of you, you have our mid-year report. I want to thank both Susie Hirschfeld and Jeff Wallace for all their hard work and collaborating on the mid-year LCAP report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much for this. A question about the 1.12, the state seal of biliteracy with our DI program. Can you clarify, because it's talking about the students, I think it's talking about the percentage of students who are receiving the seal of biliteracy. We're on page 8 of 29.
Thank you.
And as I've been thinking about the seal of biliteracy, I'm thinking about our students moving through our dual immersion program, but those students are not yet graduating high school. So how do we have data on that? Are there students who are not going through that, who are testing and receiving the seal, or what is that
Yes.
what that means? Okay.
Yes, so these are our current 12th graders who did meet the qualifications for the seal of biliteracy. As our kiddos, so our first class will be the class of 2030 for our DLI program that will be eligible to earn the seal of biliteracy.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, with other kids who haven't gone through the dual language immersion program but are still working towards their Spanish language, French language acquisition, they will qualify for the state seal of biliteracy. So as our numbers grow and our DLI programs grow,
Mm-hmm.
we expect those numbers to obviously increase.
So when we have current students who are earning this state seal of biliteracy, which is so exciting that this is already happening for students who have these skills, I don't know if this is something to talk about here, but I'm wondering, what does that look like for them? Because it's exciting that we already have students who are demonstrating this as we are building out our dual immersion program. We have students who are already demonstrating this biliteracy. Is there a recognition that happens for these students when they reach this? Is there a way to tie that into the work that we're doing with dual immersion?
Yeah, absolutely. And then other things that we are talking about with our committee as well. But students are recognized at graduation. So students, and I believe, receive additional, if it's an emblem on their, and the cords, right? They get the cords at graduation, emblem on their diploma, and then again on your transcript, it will show seal of biliteracy completion.
Wow, it's
and
really
again, it's
exciting.
another wonderful thing to put on your college resume.
Yeah, and just tying that in with the
Great.
work that's happening. It's really great. Thank you.
Sure.
No other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much. Oh,
Sorry, I can't type to Ellen fast enough. Don't we also, I thought I was at some kind of acknowledgement ceremony last year?
Oh, that was the reclassification ceremony.
Oh,
So there's
reclassification.
another
Got it.
ceremony, which
Okay,
is
right.
wonderful, when students gain English proficiency and they're redesignated based on kind of our criteria, then we do have a ceremony that recognizes the kiddos.
But you might be remembering senior awards. So at senior awards every year, they announce what students are getting the seal of biliteracy, so you could hear their names called out there too. Yeah.
Thank you.
And additionally, on that pathway in dual language, we are honoring students. Either it's called I can't remember what the certificate is, but they get like a certificate when they graduate or promote from 5th grade from the program, and then 8th grade, and then so that's the plan in the dual language immersion program.
okay, thank you so much. Our next item is 12B. This is brought to us by Derek Nell. This is a staff report. This is the second update of the NUSD Education Workforce Housing Staging Plan.
Good evening, trustees. Nice to see everybody again. I have to tell you, I had an interesting experience. I ran into a young man I used to coach when he was in elementary school at Hamilton. And guess what? He's a dad now, and his son was one of the presenters tonight. So it's always good to see our kids grow up and become responsible adults and support their public schools. So just thought I'd share that with you. So essentially, I've prepared an hour and 45-minute presentation. Just kidding. Just want to make sure you're paying attention. got a brief update for you on the Education Workforce Housing Development Staging Plan. This is our timeline. As you recall, we're sort of dividing the process into 6 different phases. We've completed the first 2 phases, and where we are now is towards the end of our staging plan. So I've kind of moved that box over a little bit more into the development circle as we move ahead. And if you recall, part of our staging plan was made up of 4 different steps. And the first step was basically giving us staff authorization to engage with our neighbors and the associated organizations around the properties that we were considering developing workforce housing or in collaboration with. And some of the meetings that we've had so far is that our meetings with the charter school has formed a subcommittee, a capital raising subcommittee. They have actually met themselves with the library staff, and the Marin County Library has moved ahead with hiring an architect to help walk through a charrette, which is a gathering of information and ideas meeting that we have been invited to. So we're glad to see this thing sort of taking on a bit of a life of its own. And I've also had ongoing discussions and meetings with the city's community development director, where we've been discussing the process they'd like to see, how entitlement options might work, and the permitting process. And I've also had an opportunity to meet with the North Bay Children's Center, as well as the North Marin Community Services when it comes to working with nonprofits that we might be working or collaborating with as we move forward. The second step was the formation of the Surplus Property Facilities Advisory Committee. That's an acronym that I can't figure out how to pronounce yet, but most commonly these are referred to as 7-Eleven committees because the names are so laborious. But the 7-Eleven committee, obviously 7 is a minimum members, 11 a maximum numbers is where that nickname comes from. And we've held 2 meetings so far. Our first meeting was to establish the committee and to let them know about the governance procedures that the committee will be following, and to elect their chairperson and vice chairperson. We've had our second meeting on the just a week ago, where we presented detailed information on the parcels, as well as we had a presentation from our chief business officer here, who presented enrollment trends and projections, and then we came back and did a little bit more information on our site capacity, and all that information is available. We have a separate web page for our Surplus Property Facility Committee if you'd like to have time to look at that. And the meeting is also on the YouTube channel, and it's a good group of people and good questions, and we're moving ahead. Our next meeting is basically to discuss what recommendation that committee would like to make in reference to the properties as to determination of its disposition as to whether or not we should hang on to it for a future school, to build a future school on to accommodate large growth, or to deem it as not to be necessary for the construction of an additional school site. The third step in our staging plan was basically the formation of some development project team subcommittees, and so we have formed our finance subcommittee, which is meeting monthly now, where we're discussing budgets, we're doing research on and analyzing financial options, and handling other things as they come in relation to the costs that will be associated with moving forward. In addition, the other development team subcommittee team that we've created is the development construction subcommittee, and we have selected an entitlement consultant that we hope to bring on board here in early April, and that'll help us with helping us to determine the best use of the properties and how they might be entitled for future development, adding value to them, et cetera. The third part is just to have regular ongoing communications with the community. We're publishing our newsletter on a regular basis. We have one coming out at the end of this week that I hope you'll all read. We have scheduled several presentations with our PTA groups, so we'll all be going to their meetings in the evenings and presenting what education workforce housing is all about, as well as continuing to share with nonprofits in the area, and also meeting with other local service clubs, mainly Rotary clubs at this point, and I'll be doing a presentation for the Chamber of Commerce Government Committee on March 3rd. So we're continuing to do our outreach. Thanks to Leslie, we're going to come out with an update to our website. We've kept it updated, but we're going to rearrange it a little bit and add some additional information to the Education Workforce Staff Housing webpage. So we're keeping that going. And we also had our Education Workforce Housing Advisory Committee meeting. That's the group made up of different stakeholders throughout the community. And we essentially went through what I basically just went over with you. We reviewed the staging plan and the status of the Surplus Property Facility Advisory Committee, and the development subcommittees, et cetera. But probably most interesting was we were fortunate to have a presentation by Tim Cornwell of the Concord Group, which is an organization that studies housing markets on an international basis. And they have, in addition to hopefully working with us in the future, have been called upon by the Marin County Office of Education and the county JPA that's working on the Oak Hill development. So he was able to share some information about what it's like, what housing is like in Marin County, and basically, you know, home values and rents continue to increase while supply continues to be rather limited. One of the interesting facts that stood out to me was how much the cost of a medium-priced home has increased in Marin. It's literally increased 135% over the past 3 years. And if you were to think about taking out a mortgage in a traditional sense, where you might have to come up with 20 to 25% down, and to finance the balance of that, he's calculating that a household will have to have earnings north of $500,000 a year to afford purchasing a home a medium-priced home in Marin County. So that's obviously a very, very high price, and makes it very difficult for our employees to live here long term. So it just basically, you know, these findings just help to underscore the need for us to continue with our education workforce housing. I think in addition to the for sale part, he gave us some interesting information about how rental housing works in Marin County. And essentially what most people are doing is what's called shadow renting. So these are not traditional for rent units that basically somebody's spare bedroom or a bunch of people overloading into a 2-bedroom, and it's essentially, creating what's called a shadow market, which is really inconsistent and uncertain for our employees that are in these situations, because they can change on a dime, and then our staff would be forced to find housing in another way. And your traditional institutional quality, market rentals remain, highly occupied, and they're commanding premium prices, further limiting the affordability for our staff. So that was a summary of what we received at our Community Advisory Committee meeting. And I just put up some dates. They're coming up here. Had the Surplus Property Facilities Committee. We have a board. I'm doing the board meeting update right now. We have our recommendation meeting on the 26th. We scheduled an additional 7-11 committee for the 12th in case the committee decides it needs more time to finalize that recommendation. And then we're hoping to bring that recommendation to you on April 1st, though that isn't for certain. So basically, you may have read in some of the reports or some of the on the website that basically we'll be presenting at a regularly scheduled board meeting when that recommendation is ready. And then again, the advisory committee will meet on April 22nd to be brought up to date at that point. So that's your update, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Derek. I really appreciate it. And actually, I was really happy and pleased that you were able to get the Concord, is it Concord group there?
Yes, that's.
Excuse me?
It's terrifying.
Well, I was just going to say, he says terrifying. I say, yeah, it kind of put me in my place on some things, I think. And one of the elements that he spoke to and you sort of touched on was how individuals, and I don't even remember the number because I think I was in shock, but how much people just don't save anymore. And he gave some number, I want to say like 18,000 maybe, for how much the average home owner has in saving, or the average individual has for saving. So that's another piece of the,
1,800.
Oh, was it? I think that 8. Anyway, there's an 8 in there somewhere, and it was really small. But I think I kind of always knew that, but it was just reiterated with all these different metrics that he was saying in terms of, the cost and income and, lack of savings. And I know that there's a lot of credit and debt out there too. So anyway, it was helpful to have him there. So thank you for that. And thank you for all the work you're doing and the committee members as well. So I look forward to the next one.
When we go forward, if we were to develop some housing for ourselves, we will have to do a current market study evaluation for the finance, to give them some assurance that what we're doing will work out from a market perspective. And just quite frankly, Marin County and Novato certainly included in that is being gentrified. I mean, it's great if you own a home in Marin. I think you're going to find that you're going to be probably doing very well. But one of the members of our committee volunteered that he's lives on a cul-de-sac with 11 houses. Four have recently turned over. Only one of those generated a child, but he's definitely noticed the high value of automobiles that these new homeowners have. So all of this just leads to the very fact that if we're going to continue to deliver a consistent quality education locally here, we're going to have to attract and retain a workforce that can afford to live here and not commute from miles away or constantly turn over, which is what the main reason we're doing this. So, question.
Just an observation, when I watched the 7-Eleven committee, I thought the group was very thorough in their questioning on, could we move to surplus property? Are we going to have any enrollment increases over time that we're going to need these parcels at some point to build additional? So I thought they were very thorough in their questioning and really want to make sure that we are not going to be needing any additional parcels for schools, that there's plenty of space on our current schools. So it was good.
Yep. That is correct. Plenty of space on the current sites, and the sites that under question we've had for 58 and 70 some odd years, so we've never needed them. We should do something else with them.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our next item is 13A. This is the approval of the 24-25 Comprehensive School Safety Plan. We have Leslie Benjamin with us.
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening. Tonight I'm presenting all of our schools' 2024-2025 Comprehensive School Safety Plans as required by AB 1747 and Board Policy 050450 for your approval. It is required that they are approved by March 1st of each year. So every school completed their safety plan last fall, reviewed it with their school site councils, and presented it to their school community. And these are living documents that can be updated anytime. Also part of this process is providing notification to the Marin County Office of Education that all schools are in compliance and notifying local law enforcement and local leaders of these plans. Included in tonight's review and approval of the safety plans are Attachment F, an updated emergency protocol for an animal disturbance, you're going to make me laugh, and Attachment G, opioid overdose reversal and naloxone use for schools, a toolkit for schools. These two additions were not previously approved by each school site as they were created after the initial approvals. Principals will take these two new additions to each school site council and school staff to be added to their living comprehensive school safety plan after tonight's approval. Thank you.
Questions, comments? Okay, thank you so much. These are very thorough, and we have all of the information for each site. Do we have anyone who would like to move to approve this? Trustee Alexander, thank you. Seconded by Trustee Gasson, thank you. All those in favor? 7 plus our 2 student trustees, wonderful. Our next item is 13B. This is the approval of board policy, AR, and exhibit updates in the 4,000 personnel series, first reading. We brought this by Francesca Whitcomb, sorry.
Good evening, Dr. Smith, trustees, student trustees. So what you have here tonight is a first reading of board policy, administrative regulation, and the exhibits related to 4361.9, a catastrophic leave program. This is new board policy and administrative regulation to provide us with the groundwork, if you will, for a catastrophic leave program for any unrepresented members of our staff. So that could be classified management, certificated management, and then we have a number of classified unrepresented staff as well. And so what you have there, this came about really, we haven't had this policy in place previously. I know there was a program years and years ago, probably at least 7 to 10 years ago. And we have contract language, we have collective bargaining agreement language for both NFT and CSEA. That's very clear, spells everything out, and that's why we haven't previously had policy or administrative regulation for the 2 bargaining units, because their collective bargaining agreements are technically sufficient. But it is something we can look at bringing in the future. But for those of our members, our staff that are unrepresented, we're having more and more a younger group, let's just say, of our staff that, you know, they have things that come up. They have folks taking maternity leave and using all their sick leave, and then they might have a subsequent, like, family severe illness or hardship or something that's happening, and they don't have any leave remaining. So we see this as a great opportunity for any of our administrative unrepresented staff to both donate any of their excess leave within these parameters, right, on an annual basis. And then we have a program in place then by which that unrepresented staff can apply for and request catastrophic leave, just like our bargaining unit members do. And I will say, since we've been working on this, we did get some feedback. Thank you. And so a couple things I want to point out on the, so on the exhibits, and for the audience, so the board policy sometimes is a shorter document. It's kind of like the what, if you will, and then the administrative regulation is the how we're going to do something. And then exhibits are usually like the forms, if you will, that are part of the process. So on the application form, I'm going to have a follow-up conversation with our superintendent about the note on there about the repayment of 1 day per year when someone receives a donation of catastrophic leave. That does mirror the language that is in both of our collective bargaining agreements. That's language that they both currently have, but it's not by any means required. So if I get direction from the superintendent and you that we don't have an interest in having people repay the leave that is granted to them, then we can not have that be in there. It's not in the policy or the regulation itself. And then the other thing that was brought to our attention was on the donation form. So we do have a requirement that someone making a donation has to have a minimum of 25 days of accumulated sick leave on record in their bank, if you will, in order to make a donation. And that's, for their own protection. Like they should always have sufficient leave for themselves in their bank. So it was suggested, and I would concur, that we add just kind of like a verification checkbox or something at the bottom of that donation that says that human resources staff has verified that they do actually have the sufficient amount in their bank. And I really am excited, actually, to have something like this in place for our administrative staff.
Thank you, Franny. I think it's great. I actually do like it, the concept and everything. I think the only thing I'm still struggling with, and this is just because of somebody who reads stuff and looks at it and goes, okay, well, I understand that who this is for, but I don't see that it says who it's for within the policy. And I understand that there's a differentiation because there's the contract, but I as an individual, if I was looking to figure out like what is there available, and I looked here, but it didn't really specify that this is who this is for. Because you've made it really clear to me, and I understand, but I wouldn't know that if I was looking for what is our policy, and I found this, I wouldn't have known that. So it's just an observation. So anyway, I think it's great. So thank you for putting it together.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate this very human-centric approach, really supporting staff. When you talk about the repayment component of this, can you give us a sense of, do we have a lot of donations and so we would not necessarily need those days to be paid back, or is this a very limited fund? Can you give us some more context for that?
Yeah,
to
that's a
understand
good
that concept?
question. So historically, in the few years that I've been back in the district, the request for donations to each of our bargaining unit banks typically comes from the bargaining unit leadership, and it's usually precipitated by a need that they learn about in their unit, right? Something has happened and it's been brought to their attention, and they want to put it out there to their members to donate leave. I will say that in other districts that I've been in, it's a more regular request. It's just like an annual regular thing. At the beginning of the school year, bargaining units and sometimes even HR, it could come from HR saying, hey, it's the beginning of a new school year. You have your new allocation of sick leave. It's a great time to consider making a donation, an annual donation to your catastrophic leave bank. We're having conversations actually at the bargaining table with both of our units about catastrophic leave. So I wouldn't be surprised if we make a little change in that part of how the requests go out there. Because ideally, our staff shouldn't it should be more confidential, right? They shouldn't have an assumption that they're making a donation to a specific person, because it is really going to a bank, right? And then the catastrophic leave committee is making the determination on the granting of the hours. So that's the other reason I think it's good to more regularly just request donations. It's just a great thing to do to help your fellow colleague. Both of our banks have a decent amount of hours in them. And actually, when we first started thinking about this, adding this program, we found that there were actually some hours remaining in this bank that used to be 7 or 8 years ago. So there already is a bank, even though there was not formal board policy for administrators. And I think in the collective bargaining agreements, they each have language about that says there has to be so many hours or so many days or what have you in the catastrophic bank in order for a granting to happen, right? So they have language set up for that. Hopefully that answered.
And I had two follow-up thoughts. One, I like the idea of it being a general request, also because, you know, if there is a staff member who has a need, but people don't know about it, then that person isn't getting access to that extra support as well. And so, you know, for people who may be quieter or more private about their situations, I think this gives them that support as well. Is there a reason that that request, when we talk about, you know, if it comes from HR or union leadership at the start of the year versus the end of the year, right? It seems like if you get to the end of the year and you have extra hours, I don't. The end of the year seems like a better time to ask.
I've seen it both ways, actually.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so this will come back on consent, and I hope that we'll get just a couple edits, definitely. I mean, it does say an employee, so if we could clarify that would be great. This is for approval. Would anyone like to motion to approve? Trustee Gasson, thank you. Seconded by Trustee Pickus. All in favor? 7 plus our 2 student trustees, thank you.
Thank you very much.
The district is off for a week, next week, and our next regular meeting will be March 4th. See you then.